So yesterday we have discussed about the feedback concepts. Today we'll begin with oscillators. So oscillators are mainly based upon the feedback concepts. Oscillators are the electronic circuits which are going to produce a signal without any input signal excitation. That means here we are not going to give any signal input, but it is going to produce the output. So input signal is not given in all the other cases. In all the other circuits we were giving an input signal from the supply. That is, if from AC supply, we are giving the input to the base of the transistor. All those things we have seen in amplifier, but in oscillators, we are not going to do any such things. So that shows that this oscillator is going to generate oscillations. It's a device which is going to generate signals. So oscillator is an electronic circuit which is essentially producing a signal output waveform even without input signal excitation. See, input signal excitation means the signal which we are giving at the input at the base of a transistor. So that will not be given. It doesn't mean that plus VCC is not given. Plus VCC has to be given. Plus VCC and minus VE has to be given, because that those plus VCC and minus VE, they are going to decide the operating region of a transistor. So obviously they have to be given, but the input what we were giving at the base terminal of a transistor will not be given. So how we are going to compensate that input? How we are going to do that is by just giving the feedback. So what we are going to do is we will take back the feedback concept again. Here there is an amplifier circuit. For oscillator also we'll take the same amplifier circuit what we have discussed already. But the change is no input from the supply is given at the input terminal. Here we used to give input from the supply, but here we are not going to do. So how we are going to do is this one. So this is just the concept of feedback, where we were having yesterday, we had studied in the last class, we have studied, we were having an input signal, also we were giving a feedback, it was mixing up and it was giving an input. But in this oscillators, we don't have any such source voltage. We are just having an input signal which is going to the feedback signal which is going to be fed as input. So no external supply is been given, only the feedback acts as input here. So just for our understanding, we have shown a switch here. So how actually it is going to behave when there is no input, and how actually it is going to behave there is a switch. So here, can anyone tell me what kind of the feedback concept or feedback type we have used here? Yesterday we have discussed about different types of feedback connections. Among those, which type of feedback is this? Four different types of topologies we studied. Among those four, this comes under which category? Anybody?
Sir, voltage series shunt?
Voltage series shunt. You're telling both series shunt, both you're telling.
Oh, no, no, no. Voltage series, sorry.
Yeah, voltage series. It's voltage series because we are taking the output voltage. So we are taking parallel means obviously we have to take voltage only, and we are giving series feedback. So it is voltage series feedback. Okay, with the circuit what we have assumed here is voltage series feedback. So basically, before going on to this, let us study the basics of where it is used, all those things. So application is in the radio and TV broadcast cable, because there we want different frequency signals to generate square wave, which is used as clock in computation, other synchronous digital systems to generate the clock signal, because in flip flops and all you have seen, we need a clock signal to trigger it. So there we need a generator, clock generator. That is where we can use that is where we can use these oscillators. See, oscillate and concept of feedback. I have already told in the last class there are two types of feedback: positive feedback and negative feedback. So, positive feedback is the one where the output and input, the output signal and input signal will be in phase. So, but a negative feedback is the one where the output signal and the input signal will be out of phase. So that is the negative feedback. So in the process, the part of output is sampled and fed back into the input amplifier. When both input signal and part of output signal fed as input are in phase, then it is known as positive feedback. If the fed input and the input which is given to the amplifier and the output what we are getting, they are not in phase, then we are going to tell it as negative feedback. Yesterday in the last class we have seen how the phase difference will be there. Because of phase difference, one cycle will have 180-degree phase difference between the other. That is what happens in negative feedback. But in oscillators, we go for positive feedback. Why we go for this positive feedback is, and we already know that the negative feedback is mainly used to reduce the gain. So we are getting some gain in the amplifier and we want to reduce it, or we need to attenuate. Attenuation means reducing the gain. The process of reducing the gain is known as attenuation. So when you want to attenuate, then we go for negative feedback. But here in oscillator, we go for positive feedback. See, why we go for positive feedback is, here, first of all, we don't have any input signal. We are getting part of output signal is fed as input, that acts as input here. So, but the problem what we have here is, when there is no input given, there is no output is obtained at the first instance. At the first instance, there is no output obtained. Then how it is going to take the output, or from where it is going to give the output? See, actually what happens here is, basically, since it is not taking any input supply, it is just taking plus VCC and minus VE. So this, when this plus VCC and minus VE is given to the transistor, inside the transistor, some kind of noise will be generated. A kind of noise will be generated. So when a noise will be generated, during that time, what happens? That noise itself, that noise itself will be amplified by the transistor. The noise which is generated inside the transistor, the noise itself will be amplified, and that will be given as output. At the output, see, the duty of this one is to sample. So the noise itself is sampled and that is fed as feedback. Okay. After that, you know that feedback factor is also adding some amount of gain, that is beta, and it is going to give, and that is fed as input. So now when when the amplifier will have some input, now what is the duty of the amplifier? Its duty is to amplify the input signal. So the noise which was taken, or the noise which was sampled here, that will be acting as input here. So now what does this amplifier do? The amplifier is going to amplify the noise itself, and after that it is going to get an amplified version of the noise. Again, this is going to sample that, and that is going to be given as feedback to this the feedback network. Now this feedback network is not only adding gain, but also this feedback network, this box whatever we are showing you, this is the feedback network. This feedback network will not only it is not only just a wire or some, it is not going to contain any amplifier or anything. It contains passive components like resistor, capacitor, inductors. So this kind of passive components will be used here in a proper way. When these passive components are used in a proper way, maybe in parallel or in series, so what it is going to do is, we have a formula. So if you going to use resistors and capacitance, we have a formula: F is equal to 1 divided by 2 pi RC. That indicates, by properly choosing some resistance and capacitance, you can get a particular frequency. Now what we are going to do is, when the signal is coming back, I'm going to use a proper resistance and capacitance. When a proper resistance and capacitance is chosen, Now what happens is that noise will be tuned to some particular frequency. The noise will be tuned to some particular frequency. Now the signal is ready with some particular frequency, and that signal will be given here. Once that noise is tuned to some particular frequency, it will be a complete sine wave. That when it is ready in the form of a sine wave, now the amplifiers, when it is given to the amplifier, now the amplifier is going to amplify it. So now what happens, since already it in a proper format, when frequency is given, automatically it takes the shape of a particular shape. So now the output whatever we'll be getting here will be a sine wave. Again it will be sampling a sine wave, it is going to give here, and again it is going to tune to the required frequency, again giving here. So this process will be keep on continuing. Because of this process, we are able to get the output even though there is no supply here. So even though there is no supply input here, we are able to produce the output by just considering a noise which is generated in the transistor. So it is basically a noise which is generated inside the transistor. The noise itself will be amplified in the first stage. So after getting the output will be the noise amplified version of the noise in the first stage. After that, the output is sampled and taken. So while taking in the first stage, the sampled version is noise only. But here, what I told, in the feedback network, we'll be using passive component, resistance, capacitance, inductance, all those things we are going to use. By properly choosing resistance and capacitance value or inductance and capacitance value, we are able to tune that noise to some particular desired frequency. So when it is going to tune it to some desired frequency, now at the output here, it will become a pure correct sine wave with some particular frequency. Now the signal will be ready in the next phase. So now when it is fed as input to the amplifier is going to keep on amplifying the signal. Okay, and this is what actually happens. This is how actually the oscillator is going to generate the signals. So there is no magic happening here. Everything is the the electronics, nothing magic here. So without giving any input, how it is going to generate output, because of by utilizing the noise itself, it is able to produce the output. So now expression for gain with feedback. So the same thing, whatever we are designed, whatever we have discussed in the negative feedback, again, gain formula, we will be deriving it here. So gain means output by input. A is equal to V naught by Vi. This is the V naught and this is Vi. So this is the loop gain of amplifier. Loop gain means without by considering an amplifier, whatever we are getting. After that, with feedback. After putting the feedback, what is the gain? So after putting the feedback, this is our output. Our input will be Vf. So because Vf will be acting as input. So once feedback is given, Vf will be acting like input. So that Vf is taken as Vs. Okay. So that Vs, when Vs is going to be given here, the total input signal will be what? The source voltage plus Vf. But here we know that Vf formula is beta V naught. How we got this beta V naught? Beta is the feedback factor and it is given as output by input. So output is Vf, input is V naught. So beta is equal to Vf by V naught. So we have written that can be rearranged and it can be written as Vf is equal to beta V naught. So now just substituting it in the above equation. So we'll be getting Vi is equal to Vs plus beta V naught. And we rearrange it for Vs because in this case, the source is, this switch is open and we don't have any source. This itself is acting like source, but we don't have any external source. So that's why now the source will be Vs is equal to Vi minus beta V naught. After that, we just take out this equation, AF is equal to V naught by Vs. So V naught by Vs means this equation we are substituting Vi minus beta V naught. After that, we are going to divide numerator and denominator by Vi. V naught by Vi, we know that it is gain, A, gain without feedback. And again here, V naught by Vi is gain. So we get AF is equal to A by 1 minus A beta. This is the gain with feedback for positive feedback. This is for the positive feedback. See, whatever we have done in the last topic, that is for negative feedback. This is for positive feedback. The gain with respect to the positive feedback we have. This is the formula. Next, after this, we are having Barkhuizen criteria. This is very, very important. 100% they'll ask. State Barkhuizen criteria. There are two criteria you have to mention. So for 4 marks, it is 100% they'll ask. Every paper will be having this Barkhuizen criteria. See, Barkhuizen, what he told is, if you want to tell any circuit as an oscillator, if you tell, someone will tell you this is a circuit which is going to generate oscillation, then what you have to do is you have to test two conditions. If those two conditions are going to be satisfied, then only you can agree or approve that particular circuit as an oscillator. So what are those two criterions? So the two criterions, what he told was, if you take this as a oscillator or amplifier with a feedback circuit, then what he told us, the total phase shift in a closed loop, the total phase shift in a closed loop should be equal to 360 degree or 0 degree. See, this is a closed loop. This is closed loop. Output coming back to feedback, again giving back to input. This is a closed loop. The total phase shift produced in this closed loop should be equal to 360 degree or 0 degree. That is the first condition he told. Next, the second condition what he told is the modulus of the amplifier gain and feedback factor. The modulus of product of amplifier gain and feedback factor should be equal to unity. That means A into beta should be equal to 1. Whenever A beta is equal to 1, then only we are going to tell that particular circuit is an oscillator circuit and it is going to produce oscillation. Okay. So now the question is, why we want that 360 degree phase shift here? See, what happens here is, so why we want the 360 degree phase shift in this case is, basically the I have already told, for CE configuration, always whenever we are using common emitter configuration, the output and input will be having a phase shift of 180 degree. So that means it will be just inverted form. Input and output will be in the inverted form. If you are going to give, in this case, the feedback is what? A sampled version of the output is feedback. If you are giving the same feedback, what happens? The output signal, whatever you'll be getting, the first signal will be sine wave and the next signal will be the inverted form of that. So what happens? Because of this, we'll be having each signals will be having a phase difference. See, what will happen is, this is an amplifier. This is the feedback network we are having, and we have okay. So this is the input part. This is the output part we are having. Now we are getting. Let us take this. We are getting this signal. Okay. What is the functionality of the feedback? So it is going to take a part of this and it is going to give the input. If the same input is taken as, if same output is taken as input here, what happens? If the same thing is fed here, the same thing is fed here. Anyhow, the amplifier, what it is going to do is it is going to invert. So the output what it is giving is this one. See now what happens? The next output will be like this. Okay. Now, next afterwards, what happens? The sampling takes place, and it is going to sample this part, and it is going to feed as input here. Okay. This is fed as input. Now again, what does this amplifier do? Hello.
Yeah, so we can't see your screen. It's still.
Are you able to see now?
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
We
Are
can
you
see
able?
it now.
Okay. Okay. Now, see what happens. This is the sampled version. This is fed as input now. So what does this amplifier do? The sampled version what we are giving now is this one. So what does this amplifier do? Just invert this and give the output like this. So where does it come? It comes and attaches here, right? So you can see that the first cycle was like this, second cycle is like this, third cycle is like this. So you can see that each cycle is having a phase difference of 180 degree. If you are giving the signal like this to any of the uh, devices, the devices might not accept this, or the devices might get damaged, because for every cycle the phase is keep on changing. All the devices might not accept this one. So that's why what we have
Excuse
to
me,
do is,
sir.
yes.
Sir, still can't see your screen, sir. It's still in the the textbook part.
So you,
Is it not seen now?
the screen is what
Can't see what you're drawing, sir. Like what you're writing.
we are still on that PPT thing.
Textbook.
Yes, sir. We can see only the book page.
No. Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now we can see.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So now you can see here, the first cycle was this one, second cycle is this one, third cycle is this one. You can see that each cycle is having a phase difference of 180 degree. If you are giving a signal like this, then what happens is you might not be able to get a proper input to any of our application, or our devices might not accept this one for working, because for every phase, for every cycle the phase is changing. So if you are giving this as signal to any device, the device has to adjust for the new phase. So this is not acceptable. So that's why what they will be doing is, in the feedback network, as I told, we'll be using passive components like R, C, L, that is passive components, resistance, capacitor, inductors. See, they are known as passive components because they are not able to produce any additional gain, or they are not able to add up any amplitude. Okay, they can just observe, or they can just change the frequency. That's it. They can just change the phase, but they cannot add up any amplitude. That's why they're known as passive components. So here in the feedback network, what we are going to do is, we will be using a combination of resistor capacitor, or a combination of inductor capacitor, or a combination of resistor capacitor inductor will be used in the feedback network. By using this one, what we are going to do is, as I told earlierly, we have a formula, F is equal to 1 divided by 2 pi RC. 2 pi RC, we have one formula. In the same way, we have one more formula, 1 divided by 2 pi root LC. This is one more formula for frequency. So by properly choosing L and C value, by properly choosing R and C value, we can choose a desired frequency. At the same time, by properly choosing L and C values, by properly choosing R and C values, whatever we might use here, we can change the phase of the signal. We can change the phase of the signal. Let us assume that now I am sampling this signal. This signal is getting sampled. I'm telling it again. Now this is the signal we are getting. Now, and I'm in this feedback network. I'm going to use this RLC or RC circuit. Some components I've used, and now I'm going to pass it through this device. So now this device, what they are going to do is, I have designed the circuit in such a way that this is going to produce additional phase shift of 180 degree. Additional phase shift of 180 degree means it is, if this is a signal which is coming at the input of this feedback network, the output will be inverted form. It is going to invert this and give. So when it is inverted and it is given to this amplifier, so now what happens? This becomes input. What does this amplifier do again? It is again, when it is passed through this, it is going to invert this. So when it is inverting, what I'll be getting? I'll be getting signal like this. So you can see this was my previous signal. This is my present signal. If it comes and attaches here, is it continuous now? The signal is keep on, it is continuous. Now again, I'll take this as my sample and I'll feed it to this feedback network. Again, it is going to produce a phase shift. It gets shifted and this is fed as input here. Again, it is going to produce phase shift. I'll be getting a signal like this that comes and attaches here. You can see that you are getting continuous signal like this. This is the continuous signal, and you can see that there is no phase difference between the first and the second or any one. So there is no phase difference. This is only possible when amplifier is going to produce 180 degree and our feedback is going to produce 180 degree. So now the total phase shift across the loop is 180 produced by the amplifier, 180 produced by the feedback. So totally it is 360 degree. So 360 degree or 0 degree, both are same, no? 360 degree or 0 degree, both will start at the same point. So that's why the total phase shift produced in a feedback network should be equal to 360 degree or 0 degree. Then only we are going to have a continuous signal like this. Coming back to this, see, he is telling, it states that Barkhuizen criteria for oscillation. Is the book visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So it has to be stated like this only. The Barkhuizen criterion for oscillation. It states that there are only 2 points. It is very easy to remember also. The total phase shift around the loop as signal proceeds from input through amplifier feedback network back to the input again, completing a loop is precisely 0 degree or 360 degree. See, the signal proceeds from input. So the signal is starting here, passing through the amplifier, coming back to the feedback, and again coming back to the input side. So this creates one loop. The total loop we are having, this one is the total loop. During this total loop, we should have a phase shift of 180 degree. You can see 180 degree produced by this and 180 degree produced by this. Why this amplifier is going to produce 180 degree? Because it is an inverting type of amplifier. Because all CE configured, if you write a transistor in CE configuration, it acts as inverting amplifier. It is going to invert all. Please remember, all CE configuration amplifiers are inverting amplifiers. They are going to produce a phase difference of 180 degree between input and output. So now the total phase shift produced should be equal to 180 degree, 0 degree or 360 degree. Next one, the magnitude of product of open loop gain of amplifier A and magnitude of feedback factor beta is unity. The magnitude of product of gain and feedback factor should be equal to unity. So that is what the second statement is. These are the 2 statements you have to write. If it is asked only state Barkhuizen criteria, 2 marks, then 2 statements done. If they're asking explain Barkhuizen criterion, then write this diagram. You have to state these 2 statements After that, we have some condition. What happens if A beta is greater than 1? What happens if A beta is less than 1? What happens if A beta is equal to 1? You have to show these conditions, all these conditions. So first we'll take what happens when A beta is greater than 1. So when total phase shift is 0 degree or 360 degree. See, total phase shift is 0 degree or 360 degree, fine. But A beta is greater than 1. See, one condition is satisfied, but the other condition is A beta is greater than 1. Then oscillations are of growing type oscillation. It will produce an oscillation, but it will be growing type of oscillation. You can see that the signal will be keep on growing. The amplitude will be keep on increasing. It will not be constant. Okay, it happens when A beta, this is actually beta, is taken as B, it is make it as beta. A beta greater than 1. So when A beta greater than 1, it will be growing type of oscillation. Next, after that, here also it is A beta only. So if A beta is equal to 1 unity, then it will be sustained oscillation. You can see that the amplitude will be equal. That is known as sustained oscillation. All the signals will be of same size. Next, when A beta is less than 1, if it is less than 1, and then it will be decaying type of oscillation. You can see that the amplitude level is keep on decreasing. The amplitude level is keep on decreasing. The levels, this is at this level, this is at this level, this is at this level. This happens. So in order to get a sustained oscillation like this, A beta is equal to 1 has to be satisfied. So if any one of the condition is not satisfied, we will be not getting sustained oscillation. So either 360 degree or 0 degree is not going to happen, or A beta is equal to 1 is not going to happen. So at least one is not satisfied means you are not going to get sustained oscillation. So this is what it has been stated according to the Barkhusen criteria. So after that, the working of a general oscillator. So whatever I have explained, the same thing is explained here. You can just go through that. Next is phase shift oscillator. So as I was explaining, we will be having feedbacks with some resistors and capacitors. So here we are having some feedbacks with some resistors and capacitor. So such kind of oscillators are known as phase shift oscillator. So for your syllabus, we have only phase shift oscillators. There is one more oscillators called LC oscillator, where instead of using in the feedback part, instead of using resistor and capacitor, they'll be using inductor and capacitor. That is LC oscillators or tank oscillators. So that is not there for your syllabus. Just we'll be using a phase shift oscillator. So this is the block diagram approach for phase shift oscillator. This is the block diagram approach. So this is an amplifier.
Sir,
Yeah.
sir, there is only phase shift oscillator in our syllabus, nothing else.
Yeah, phase shift oscillator. In that phase shift oscillator, you have this is RC phase shift oscillator, and this is Wainbridge oscillator. These two are
Okay,
there
sir.
for your syllabus. So after
Okay, sir.
that, we just go with our 555 timer IC oscillators. Will go. This
Okay,
is
sir.
IC based circuits. See, whatever we are doing is discrete. So in the discrete, we are having only these two, RC and Wainbridge oscillators. We don't have. Actually, there are different, still more oscillators like a Hartley oscillator, Colpitts oscillator, crystal oscillator, all those things. So these are all discrete oscillators that are not there for your syllabus. Only you have these two. Followed by this, you are having 555 timer based oscillator. 555 timer based oscillator means they are IC based. Instead of putting individual transistor, all this transistor, resistance and all, they will just put an IC and will get the output. Okay, so that is the difference between this oscillator and that oscillator. So whatever I have given in my book, only that much is there for the syllabus. Okay, this is an amplifier, and I just mark an arrow mark here. Arrow mark is missing. this NPN transistor, or a mark should be here, outward. So amplifier with a feedback network. See here, our condition is what, according to the Barkhuizen criteria, the condition is what? Total phase shift, whatever is being produced, should be equal to 360 degree or 0 degree. 180 degree is already produced by this amplifier. Remaining 180 degree we have to produce. That's why what we have done is, here we have taken 3 RC pair. So this is one RC pair, this is one RC pair, this is one RC pair. See, why we have taken 3 RC pair is, each RC pair, by properly choosing some resistor and capacitor value, they are able to produce a phase shift of 60 degree. Each of them will shift the signal, whatever the signal is coming here, they'll be shifting the signal by 60 degree. This shifts the signal by 60 degree, this shifts the signal by 60 degree, this shifts the signal by 60 degree. So when the signal comes here, so whatever the signal is coming here, to that 60 degree will be added. When it comes here, 120 degree. When it comes here, 180 degree. So the signal which is coming at this point will be having 180 degree phase shift while it is going out of this. Okay. So what is this 60 degree? Yeah. Are you able to see this empty sheet?
Yes, sir.
So this is a signal we are having with 0 degree or 360 degree. This point, say this point is what? 90 degree. Right? What is this point? 180 degree. Somewhere here, you'll be getting 60 degree. Somewhere here, you'll be getting 120 degree. Okay. So now what happens is, we are having 3 RC pairs. When the signal comes here, and it is going to pass through this, what it is going to do is, once it is going to pass the first RC pair, the signal will be like this. The signal which, while coming from the output, it was like this. So when it is passed through the first RC pair, it will be like this. That means it is starting from 60 degree. This is the point. See, this is 60 degree. That point it is starting. When it is passed to the second RC pair, additional 60 degree is added to this. Additional 60 degree, when it is added, the signal starts from 120 degree. See, this is the point. So it will start from here, 120 degree. The signal becomes like this. When this is passed through the third RC pair, additional 60 degree is being given. When additional 60 degree is being given, then the signal will come here. So totally it will be having 160, 120, 180. The signal will be like this. Okay. When this is fed to the amplifier, so when it is fed to the amplifier is going to produce again 180 degree, and you will be getting signal like this, and this signal gets attached here, and this is taken as output, and we'll see that the first signal and second signal are in phase. This is what the idea behind this. So each RC pair is going to give a phase difference of phase angle of 60 degree. So 60, 60, 60, 180 degree phase difference is produced by this 3 RC pair. So this is an CE amplifier, and while explaining the transistor, the beginning of the BJT application, I had told there are 4 types of biasing. Do anyone remembers what kind of biasing this might be? There are 4 types of biasing, I told. Among them, this is also one of the type of biasing. Anyone remembers it?
Voltage divider.
Very good. It is voltage divider bias. The biasing what we have used is voltage divider biasing. Now, the output given is always collected across the collector, and that is fed as input to this. But you can observe one thing, one of the resistance is connected in series. I was telling there should be RC like this, but one of the resistance is connected like this. Why it happens? Why we have to do like this? See, what happens is always the input and the output should be balanced. The load of input and the output should be balanced. So sometimes what happens, the load at the input, load means the resistance or the capacity at the input and the output should be balanced in a there will be while designing we'll design it in a proper proportion. If that is not going to balance, then what you have to do is you have to add extra resistance. See here, R1 and this RL, whatever you have used, these two are acting like resistors, input resistors, and they are in parallel because it is connected. One more wire is connected. So the parallel combination of these two will produce some resistance here. Suppose this resistance which is acting at this point is not going to be balanced with the resistance at this point. During that time, some additional resistance has to be given here to balance them. So during that time, we instead of having the resistance, this resistance parallel, we'll connect one pair of RC in series like this. Okay, so otherwise what happens is if you are not going to connect like this, loading effect happens. So when loading effect happens, during that time, the output will not be getting sustained oscillation. One signal will be high, other signal will be low, like that. The amplitude will not be constant. So in order to avoid that loading effect, one of the resistance will be connected in series. This is what. If you get confusion, no problem. You just write it in series like this only. You can write the resistor like this. Okay, no problem. Both are correct. So this is with practical situation. This is what actually we will be doing. But ideally speaking, we will be just theoretically speaking, we can just connect it like this. And when I see like this, does it look like a ladder? If I see in horizontal position, does it look like a ladder? If I see in horizontal direction, like this, if I see, does it look like a ladder? Hello.
Yes, sir.
So that's why this is also known as ladder type oscillator. So the feedback network looks like a ladder. If I see in horizontal direction, it looks like a ladder. That's why it is known as ladder type oscillator. In exam, to confuse you, they can ask you, instead of asking RC phase shift oscillator, they can ask it you as explain the ladder type oscillator. Then you have to write this one only. And this one, if you know it properly, write it in series. If you get confusion, write it resistor in parallel also. For both, marks will be given. No worries. Coming to the explanation, the same explanation. This is going to produce 180 degree and this is going to produce 180 degree, and total phase shift is 360 degree or 0 degree, and is one of the resistance is connected in series to avoid the loading effect. The same thing we are going to explain. So this is just the block diagram approach. This is transistorized phase shift oscillator. In exam, you have to write this one. This one might not fetch you marks. This is just for your understanding. This is what you have to write in exam. This circuit diagram you have to write in exam. This might not fetch you marks. So this is transistorized phase shift oscillator. So in order to overcome the loading effect, R dash is the resistor which is connected in series at the last RC pair. This oscillator can provide frequencies from several hertz to several hundred kilohertz. This is the range of this oscillator. It can produce a frequency of signal from hertz to several hundred kilohertz. The circuit consists of an amplifier feedback network consisting of resistor, capacitor arranged in ladder fashion, and such an oscillator is also known as ladder type RC phase shift oscillator. The frequency of oscillation is given by, so this is the formula, F is equal to 1 divided by 2 pi RC root 6. Actually, the formula will be 1 divided by 2 pi RC root 6 plus 4K. Root 6 plus 4k. Many of the times the k is a constant, which is the ratio of RC by R. RC by R means this is RC divided by R. RC by R. So k is equal to RC by R. So sometime many of the cases they'll be not giving RC value. So during that time we'll be neglecting k value. So we just write 1 by 2 pi RC root 6. Even if you write as root 6 plus 4k, it is correct. So, but in problems, I have used 6 plus 4k, because in the problems I have given k value. So that's why I have taken 1 divided by 2 pi RC root 6 plus 4k. And beta value for this is 1 divided by 29. And hence for the loop gain must be greater than unity. We have, so here A should, in order to get the sustained oscillation, A should be greater than 29. So A should be greater than 29. Then only, say when A is greater than 29 and B is equal to 1 by 29, then only it will become equal to 1. Otherwise, it will be less. So that is what. And coming to the disadvantage with this circuit is, see, if you can see that in the formula, for particular value of R and C, a particular frequency is generated. If you want other frequency, see, R and C, for example, R and C I have designed to get a frequency of 50 kilohertz, okay, or 50 hertz. Let us take, for 50 hertz, I have chosen R and C. Suddenly now I want to get 100 hertz. So when you want 100 hertz, what you have to do? Again, you have to change R and C value. Again, you have to remove this R value. You have to remove C values, or this entire circuit you have to rig up again. So for different frequency values, you have to keep on changing the resistance and capacitor value. That is a very tedious work, and which is not comfortable. So we have to keep on changing it again and again. So that is not appreciated. So 3 sections must be changed simultaneously to satisfying the oscillating condition, but practically this is impossible. And stability is poor due to the changes of the values of various components due to the effect of temperature aging. So also it is more dependent upon the temperature. So with respect to when temperature increases, again its behavior changes, and also since we are having more number of components, we might have the device aging. So as the time goes on, the components might not work properly. Because of that, we might not be able to produce required phase shift. See here, each RC pair has to be matched properly. All this R should be same, all this C should be same. If any one of the R is different, then it is not going to satisfy 180-degree phase shift, because each of them should exactly produce 60 degree, 60 degree, 60 degree. If any one of the resistance value is different, then the entire the oscillations will be spoiled, because the condition is it has to produce 180 degree and each of them has to produce 60 degree. If any one is, let us assume this is going to produce 58 degree, this is producing 60 degree, this is producing 60 degree, but total phase shift whatever it is producing is 178 degree. Again, it is not, this becomes 180, this becomes 178. So we'll be getting only 358 degree. So 358 degree is not matching with our conditions. So we'll be not getting sustained oscillation or correct oscillation. So the stability is poor because of usage of too many components. This is about RC phase shift oscillator. This is RC phase shift oscillator. After this, we are having Wien bridge oscillator. So that we'll be doing this in the next class. So in the tomorrow's class, we can do the